The ASEAN Soji Caucus, or ASC, is a network of human rights activists from Southeast Asia. The ASC enhances the capacity and knowledge of human rights defenders in promoting and protecting the rights of persons of diverse Soji SC in the Southeast Asian region.
This is the series of discussions on queering alternative regionalism that is organized by ASEAN Soji Caucus with the support of Voice. This series aims to spark a conversation among LGBTQI organizations on how to challenge the dominant discourse among ASEAN governments that excludes and delegitimizes the existence and narratives of LGBTIQ people, including the use of culture, art, and memory as tools and sites of resistance.
In this episode, Professor Lorna Israel talks about memory and its role in activism. Professor Israel is a senior lecturer at the Department of International Studies in Miriam College. She has an MA in Philippine Studies from the Asian Center, University of the Philippines, where she is also finishing her PhD on Philippine Studies and Foreign Relations. Professor Israel is also a member and former president of Kasibulan Women's Art Group.
A story is a mnemonic device. It helps us remember. So with writing and other mnemonic devices, memory has become public, social, cultural, and political. Moreover, these tools or devices for remembering allow us to forget because it's easy to retrieve those memories, with these mnemonic or remembering devices. So history, heritage, memorials, museums, diaries, films, songs, family albums, books, etc. are just some of the cultural products of remembering. And these memory devices help us remember because memory is also about forgetting. And memory is in the present moment where we make meaning of a particular time or period and the experience of it. To make memory meaningful, it has to undergo the process of interpretation or explanation. And such interpretation becomes the vehicle for its communication to the public, thereby making it memorable. Now, memory is both deeply personal and social. Without such social frameworks, memories would simply flash like a forgotten dream. And let's take the example of a rainbow flag. How many of us remember this man, Gilbert Baker, the creator of the rainbow flag? And how many of us actually remember the meaning of each color of the rainbow flag? So the theater of consciousness may have limited capacity, but it can create a vast access when we turn to memory technologies. So these mnemonic devices, these memory technologies become the repositories of something that is likely to be forgotten. And you can afford to forget because they are inscribed, written, filmed, photographed, painted, being facilitated by mobile media and social networking technologies with the internet providing memory ecologies, sudden and immediate communications, messaging, crowdsourcing, peer-to-peer, one-to-many groups to crowd or networks. And the assumption is that the availability of remembering devices will make it move from one point of the world to the next. So we need to adopt a transcultural attitude and see the transcultural nature of memory because remembering is unavoidably transcultural. Once archived or put in a mnemonic device, no one community or individual owns that piece of memory. It becomes public. And anyone can access that memory. So for instance, the Jews do not have the sole memories of the Holocaust. It is now very much global and speaks to us through the international norms of human rights. The gift of the million of Jews who died in the Holocaust is the present-day human rights principle. So when we talk about memory, because usually it is associated with something that has happened in the past, it is not a past. But to be able to turn that into connective, we have to pay attention to the present. So, for instance, the Holocaust may have happened in the past, but because it has become global, everybody remembers Holocaust, everybody remembers Hitler, and once in a while there will be a Hitler figure. But the present moment that the Jews gave to the present generation is the very principle of human rights. And then we proceed that, we bring that to the future, is our dream for all is human rights for all, because we know that in the present, not everybody gets to enjoy human rights. So part of the transcultural attitude is having the inquisitive perspective. It's a kind of curiosity that looks at how memories unfold across different time, places, between and beyond one's culture or geography. So an inquisitive or transnational approach would look at memory in a possible spectrum of connections or even disconnection. Every disconnection is also a form of connections, from here, there, everywhere. From yesterday, which is the past, today, which is the present, and tomorrow or the future. And this is how memory becomes meaningful and kept alive, because it is not stuck in the past. And generally speaking, by itself, memory is empty and meaningless. So how we put meaning to it, how we archive it, may minimize forgetting.
This podcast is released under a Creative Commons license.